Oh, and welcome back. Welcome back. It is me. It is the Cyber Warrior. This is CyberWarriorStudios. And I know you're all here for an amazing security happy hour. And it is Freya's Day. And it's WrestleMania weekend. So, of course, we had to pull out the Broken Skull double IPA. And no, this is not sponsored. I just wish they would. But hey, look, it's going to be an amazing show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got a great guest coming on. So if you could share this, like it, all that other fun stuff. But mainly right now, because we're live, share. Get other people in here, and we're going to have a great time. Now, saying that, hang with us, and we'll be back in just a second. Told you it was only going to be a second, and we're back. So, look, everybody, again, it is me, the Cyber Warrior, your host, the founder of CyberWarriorStudios, and this is Security Happy Hour. Now, with me today, I have the one and only Grant Mooney. Grant is he's new to cybersecurity. So, it's amazing. I love having new people on this show because getting voices heard is what it's all about. So, if you haven't shared this yet, go out and do it right now. Right now, share. Otherwise, look, Grant, why don't you give people an introduction kind of where you're at in your career and how you got into cybersecurity, and then we'll get into the topic at hand.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very new to cybersecurity. My background really before this was I was a field tech in IT for a little bit and did a lot of road warrior work, if you will, kind of touching a little bit everything in every kind of environment. And then I was at a medical device production facility for a little bit. And so I kind of helped oversee the help desk and kind of straddled level 1, level 2, level 3 support there. And then landed the role I'm in now as working with, I'm brand new to this role. So I've been there about a month, but basically they brought me on to help oversee client relationships with various hospitals that they oversee their cybersecurity programs. So, yeah.
That is awesome because being able to oversee the program itself falls into more the blue team side of things, right? That's your vulnerability management programs, your policies, your procedures, incident response, incident handling. Having that overarching view of the program itself allows you to get a better idea of business enablement. So from a perspective of just understanding the business and security and how these different clients interact with things is that'll set you up far and beyond what a lot of other roles will, because now you get to see both sides. You get to see the security side and then why some of these programs are the way they are and kind of the bureaucratic red tape and stuff that they have to deal with. So it is awesome to kind of get into one of those roles. And oh my goodness, we got all the warriors in the house today. We got Miss Tarver. And again, I'm not going to butcher her name, so we're going to stick with that. Love you. And then we got Andrea's in the house. Andrea, how you doing? And Jess Bishop is here as well. So good to see you all. Make sure you share, comment, all that fun stuff. So the topic at hand for today is your threat landscape. And it was one of those things that takes a lot of research. So in terms of threat landscape and kind of what you see from that side of things and your experience, being brand new to it, what do you see right now as the threat landscape for some of the clients that you're dealing with, some of the different areas?
Yeah. I think I'm new enough that I haven't seen a lot in my current environment. Of course, the background, right? We know ransomware is really big with hospitals, and a lot of places will pay the ransomware and they don't fix the issues, and then they get ransomed again and they pay it again, and it's a good business if you're in the hospital ransomware business.
This is true.
So, so I know kind of stuff that's out there. I've done my homework and research as far as, I know there's different kinds of threats. I know there's nation state actors. I know there's, criminal organizations, there's underground teams and stuff like that. And yeah, I was really curious just to your experience and kind of what you've seen with a much longer track record than me of, you know, what some of these common, actors are, because I mean, we know that there's these high level people out there. We know that there's some mid tier hackers out there, and we also know there's people that just have access to resources and they're playing around on the computer.
Skids, script kiddies, whatever you want to call them.
Okay.
That's what they are.
Yeah. And with the security posture of a lot of places, right, you can be a script kiddie and do well. So.
And that's really what it is, right? So I think a lot of your script kiddies, and I know it's like a derogatory term for a lot of hackers, but some of them, they're just learning. That's what they are. Unfortunately, they're just learning the wrong way. So they tend to target a lot of your smaller businesses, your mom and pop shops. We're talking basic phishing emails. The company can't afford, a forensic investigation or anything like that. And Jess has it right here, and she's absolutely correct. Shadow IT. So you got people that'll like just turn on a computer, plug it into the network. It's already got malware on it. You can't scan it. You have no access to it. You have no visibility. So things like that. So I think your script kiddies will definitely target a lot of stuff like that. And a lot of your smaller businesses, even mid-sized businesses, can have really shoddy security and IT infrastructure. So, I think that's mainly their targets. But then when you start looking at your more malicious people, right? We're talking APTs, nation states, hacktivists, things like that. Excuse me. They'll target mid to large size. It doesn't matter, but they usually have a area they focus on. Hospitals, which I think is bullshit, and you should never be targeting hospitals. Anybody that does can go to the lowest pits of whatever the hell they believe in and just go there and burn and die and be gnawed on or whatever it is. Because if you're targeting hospitals, get bent. I have no respect for you. Start targeting the student loan companies and the credit places. I'm just saying, like, at least help somebody out. But oh, we got Ness Hacks in the house. It's about time, girl. Whew. One of my other warriors that's been a while since I haven't seen her.
Awesome.
But yeah, so your nation states tend to target critical infrastructure. And again, that's where some of your hospitals come into play, because that is critical infrastructure. You need that to take care of people. And then, of course, your power grids, your gas, your water, all those things. So that's where you'll see a lot of that. So it's not so much when you're looking at the threat landscape, concentrating on who's like which level of hacker is going to target what. It's more looking at, okay, what APTs do we know are out there, and what sectors of business are they targeting? Are they targeting the banking scene? Are they targeting critical infrastructure? Are they targeting law firms? Are they targeting hospitals? All these different things. That's really what you have to look at when you're looking at a threat landscape, because your script kiddies, again, there's someone that's going to use all the tools, and anyone with an EDR solution is going to catch most of them. Let's just be honest. They're not looking to bypass a CrowdStrike or a Windows Defender or Bitdefender or anything like that. Like, they're not going to. I know, because I've run a lot of these tools on my own computer, and even just installing it, my AV's like, Bitdefender's like, hey, homie, you ain't allowed to have this.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm literally using it for testing, and they're like, you're not allowed.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me exclude this directory so you quit freaking removing it. Like, so even basic at-home anti-malware, which Bitdefender is a little bit more advanced than some of the other ones out there, but still, it's a personal anti-malware solution. Catches installing Metasploit. Like,
Yeah.
literally will tell you, no, go screw yourself. You're not doing it. And I'm just like, okay. So your script kiddies are definitely not doing anything that's going to be too malicious. Well, it's malicious, but too advanced. And man, we got a lot of great people in the house. Divin Bayonne, I hope I pronounced that right, on LinkedIn. Hey, thanks for joining. Just so you're aware, I cannot type back to LinkedIn. So if you have questions, please feel free to post them. I cannot type to LinkedIn, though. Unfortunately, the API doesn't work that way. William Bailey in the house. Let's see. Who else? Jason Rojas, I already talked to you. Thanks for joining this evening. But yeah, so that's how I look at the threat landscape, is more of what sector of industry I'm working, because that's really what you have to pay attention to, is who is targeting that industry versus what level of hacker I got to worry about. It's more what type of attacks are going to hit this industry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And like you're saying, it seems like as the defense scales, the competency of the hacker is going to come into play. And the more defensible you get, the higher level of attack it would take to really get all the way through all defenses of a structure or posture.
Yeah, generally speaking. So when you're looking at things like defense in depth, I have found, although there's still companies out there that leave open S3 buckets, that have passwords exposed in GitHub repos and things like that, so any Joe Schmo can just scan and find it and get in. I have found external networks, and we're not talking web applications. We're talking a standard external network when you're doing port scans and looking for vulnerabilities, are a lot harder to get through these days. So if you just have firewalls and ID or IPSs in place and things of that nature, your network is a little bit more secure from a scanning standpoint. Now, if you have a web app that ties into your backend, that ties into your entire network, then it's a whole different can of worms, because if you have shitty coding and you have no real secure code, then you're screwed. Because you're going to stand up some type of SQL database. You're not going to sanitize anything, and people are just going to use SQLi or some other form of web app attack and get all your information anyway. So it doesn't matter. And then phishing. Phishing is always, it doesn't matter how secure you are. Phishing will crush any network, from something as powerful as Amazon or Facebook or Google, down to the lowest small business. It does not matter. Clicking a link, downloading a file, if it is done the right way, if they know, especially the ones that are looking to bypass things like CrowdStrike and Windows Defender and Sentinel-1 and all these other EDR and MDR programs, if that's what they're targeting and that's what they're doing, I don't care how good your security is, phishing is going to kill you. It's actually going to absolutely going to destroy your network. And Jess is right. The more sophisticated APT groups can sit silently in a network for months, and by the time you catch them, it's way too late. They've already exfiltrated all the data, and by the time you catch them, ransomware is probably all over your system, and it just takes one keystroke to just lock up your stuff. So, yeah, you're sophisticated APTs. And it's funny, too, because you'll see on the news and you'll see a lot of articles, oh, it was a sophisticated attack. No, it was a phishing email. You just didn't catch it, and it literally propagated through your entire network without doing anything malicious other than propagate. And it sat there and waited. And then little by little, it just took data. And then you weren't paying attention. You didn't stop it. So it just caught you. And then they hit the key and they said, hey, we encrypted all your data. And a lot of people, I got to start this real quick. A lot of companies don't realize, and I stand by this. Ransomware is a distraction. They're after the data. So they're going to sit quietly. They're going to take all the data, and then they'll encrypt your network. You'll pay that ransom, and then you'll get extorted for the data they already have.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. What's to
They already
stop
have it.
from? Yeah. Yeah.
So it's more of a I think ransomware is more of a distraction mechanism. Or because they already have the decryption key, they'll encrypt all your data, steal all your data, decrypt it on their end. Hey, I have all your data. If you want it, it's going to cost you 1,500 Bitcoin. What? And then they'll still release it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, if you get hit with ransomware, your data's gone.
Yeah.
Like you could restore, you could pay, you could do whatever you want, but your data's gone. Somebody already owns it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you could sell it right on the dark web and make some extra money. I mean, 2 birds with 1 stone with that.
Yeah, definitely. So Divin on LinkedIn, what is the best method to follow to become a good ethical pen tester? Study, try hack me, hack the box. Why can't I think of it? I'm blanking right now on the course. PNPT.
Okay.
From them.
Absolutely.
There's a bunch of good ones out there.
Yeah.
Look, if you're connected to me on LinkedIn or anybody right now on YouTube chat, so Divin, I would recommend coming over to YouTube because everybody on YouTube right now is connected to me on LinkedIn. You'll get a lot of good people that can. Andrea and Miss Tarver are always putting out great training resources. So, Jess as well. So, you want training? Connect with us on LinkedIn. Jenny, thanks for joining this evening. Good to see you. You are a little bit late, but we still love you here. But we do have another question from Jason. Curiosity on whether something is legit will always eat away at someone just enough to have them open to something. So not really a question, but a statement. And now in your time, Grant, how much of what you've seen looks legitimate?
Yeah. If someone puts a little effort into like a phishing email, that's the thing, right? A lot of times is there's like 0 effort put in, and anyone that's using more than half their brain, they'll see it, they'll notice it. But if someone puts more than 10 to 15 minutes into it, they really craft out a good phishing email, it can be done really well. And so you have to really know those things, like covering over a clickable link to see the URL it's going to, some of those simple things that, you got to really be aware to do. And then, checking email addresses and stuff like that. But in my experience, I've seen some really well-crafted ones that give me concern because I don't click on them, but I'm like, if this was sent in our environment, I know there's people that clicked on this. So.
Yeah, I've seen some good ones. I have. Now let me ask you this, because this is the way I look at it. Do you think with the advancement of things like ChatGPT and OpenAI and Google came out with their own and Microsoft came out with their own, do you think it's going to make it harder to detect phishing emails?
That's a good question. I think that, people utilizing a good AI backbone, it'll probably be able to, for the people that are lazy, like that I was just talking about, that don't put a lot of effort into it, if they can figure out how to work the AI machine, then it'll craft a much better phishing attempt, and it'll definitely help them out a lot as far as the attackers, and hurt organizations much more, I think.
Yeah, I think my view on it is the reason some of your phishing emails are so easy to catch is because they'll use something like a Google Translate or something like that. So you could see where the words don't necessarily match. And I've done that, even going from something to from English to Spanish. I know enough about Spanish that when I'm reading certain things, I'm like, this doesn't look right.
Yeah.
From English to German, the same way. And then when you go from Spanish or German to English, the same way. So you see these things. So that's why a lot of these are easier to catch if you're paying attention and actually reading, not just glancing at it and letting your emotions take over. But I do, in my opinion, I think things like ChatGPT and any other one that's out there, and here's the thing, you have to trick the system. You can't just say, hey, can you craft me a phishing email? Because they're like, no, I ain't allowed to do that. But if you say, hey, can you craft me a marketing email to be able to do this, this, and this, and craft your verbiage correctly, yeah, it'll put together one of the most sophisticated phishing emails you have ever seen. So I think even the most sophisticated hackers that are sending phishing emails will start using OpenAI and things like that.
Yeah. Makes it like work. Yeah.
And I think it'll work a lot more because not everybody is like those in cybersecurity and IT that will look at email addresses and headers and things of that nature. And even myself, I've come this close to getting caught a few times because I've looked at it and I'm like, time out. Let me actually dig a little deeper and be like, oh, no. And to bypass a lot of your spam filters, because I trusted for a while, I trusted Google's spam filter because it was legit. It was good. Yeah. Then they found out a way to bypass it. How do they bypass it? I'm literally going to put a link and a huge image in an email and send it to you. And that's all it is. Literally, the whole thing is an image that was just pasted in there. So the whole thing is a link. And Google's like, oh, yeah, this is good. What?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, how is this good? So being able to catch those things, there's a lot of ways. But that goes back to who's sending it. And what I find from the threat landscape portion of things is a lot of those are, we're going to send out a mass email. And then I know at least 2 people are going to click it. I'm going to get in and be able to propagate and do whatever I want to do. That's so right. They're like, this is easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. I may only get one, or whatever. But that's all I need. All I need is that one to be able to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And they have their targets. And Miss Tarver's right. It used to work fine. Now they let all kinds of craziness get through. They do. Yet my spam folder still gets filled up. So I'm confused on where their algorithm or their blocks are, because literally I look at my Gmail and I go, homie, this ain't from my bank. And they're like, oh, yeah, it is. No, it's really not. No, I know what my bank's email looks like, and this ain't it.
Yeah.
So it happens all the time. It's just one of those things. You got to have your head on a swivel. And it's one of those things, especially when you're looking at threat landscapes. So you work for one company or you work for multiple clients?
Yes, to both. So one company that oversees right now.
That's what I thought. So you're more like a consultant that oversees a lot of different organizations. So with that, yeah, it's very difficult because everybody's going to have their own stance on certain situations.
Yeah.
So your threat landscape is going to be a little bit different because some are going to be more locked down. So even though they may have the same threat actors, you don't have to worry about certain ones because you're like, all right, this ain't going to happen. This ain't going to happen. This ain't going to happen. But we do have to worry about all these. And then others, you're going to be like, okay, I literally got to worry about Joe Blow just being like, yeah, you know what? Let's just send out a bunch of phishing emails. Some dumbass texter, Gmail that day. And they're like, oh, yeah, I want to click this. It's my bank. And all of a sudden now the entire company's compromised.
Yeah.
Spam folder is full of local women looking to meet me. Yo, hey, Miss Tarver. I actually do get a lot of those, and I don't know why.
I think everyone does. Yeah, I know. I get a lot of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I swear, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And this is why I say, like, all right, so I am going to touch on something that I usually don't, but I need to. As much as this Restrict Act is going out there, and of course it's just, let's just invade everybody's privacy. Look, if you could figure out that I'm a male because I signed up for Google, means you bought my data from somewhere, which means legitimately, I got a question. Where'd you get that information from? Because you're so worried about other people getting it. Yeah. Come on. Like, I get spam all the time for stuff I never signed up for. Let's go. Just the way I look at it. Like, so they're so worried about one thing, and it's like, you got other things to worry about, homie. Let's see, Brad. Oh, damn, Brad, you're here. I love it. Better to just assume the user will always make a mistake, whether they are tricked or just a stupid mistake. Build defenses based on that assumption. Yes. Yes. I will say this, though. We do have to stop doing one thing. Always quit treating users as stupid. Us in cybersecurity, as much as we like to say the user is the weakest link, you can't treat it that way, because then users won't come to you and talk to you about the issues they're having because they're afraid you're just going to make them feel stupid. We have to stop doing that. As cybersecurity professionals, knock that shit off. Yes, a user can very easily click a phishing email, but you know what? I've seen cybersecurity people get caught by phishing. I've seen them get caught by fake web applications. I've seen them get caught by everything. So you're not as smart as you think you are. So don't ever downplay a general user and make them feel stupid because they clicked the link. But we have so many people that do it all the time. And that we need to get away from. And Brad says it. You can stop stupid, as our job controls as guardrails. Again, correct. Not wrong. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying we just have to quit judging the user, because we're just as stupid sometimes. We fall for the same shit. So it happens.
Yeah.
Look at one of the best SOC analysts I know, JJ Davey, whose Discord got compromised. One of the best I know.
Yeah.
And his Discord got compromised over something stupid. Yeah. I mean, granted, it was definitely, it looked legit. So I'm not going to say he was stupid. It was something that probably almost all of us would have fell for. But even one of the best in industry, in my eyes, got caught. So no one is immune to this stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, I like this. Robert. I make it a point to congratulate users when they question an email and send it to me.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I also asked them why they thought it was suspicious. Carrots, not sticks. Very true. Love it. Let's see. Yes, Misha. We are all still humans. Even the perfect machines aren't perfect 100% of the time. And I will give you a very simple explanation for that. Machines are designed by humans, and humans ain't perfect. So why would machines be perfect? So fuck everybody that says AI and machine learning is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It is still designed by fucking humans. We designed it, and we're imperfect. What makes you think they're going to be perfect? Just saying. Fucking people. I'll never understand it. Oh, man. Good times. Good times. So, Grant. So in terms of threat landscape, let's kind of bring it back to that. What other questions you have, man? Like, what are your concerns with the threat landscape? Because it is broad, and it does vary from, industry to industry, business size to business size. So what are your concerns? Like, what are you really trying to understand about the threat landscape beyond just what might be threats?
Yeah. I guess, if someone's setting up a defense in depth to their infrastructure, ultimately they're trying to protect against a malicious actor at the end of something, right? And so I guess my curiosity and questions are really around like the percentages, I guess, or the general groupings, like how common are these APTs, or how common are these, script kiddies? Are they really a dime a dozen, and there's that many people bored? And and I was really curious, like with your background, Derek, like I'm sure you've seen some things, and you've been reading threat intel way longer than I have. So, like, you know, has there been things that you've seen, through the years that it surprised you, or things you found out ultimately the person on the end, you're like, wow, I wouldn't have thought they would be trying to infiltrate that.
Um,
Does that make sense?
from a from an APT point of view, and actually, I'll be honest, from a black hat point of view. All right, now this is me looking at it from a perspective of coming up around and understanding cybersecurity and my background in it. I never in my life imagined that hospitals would ever be targeted. Never, never in my life thought they would ever be targeted. So when the first one happened, I was like, that's shitty. That should have never happened.
Yeah.
I believe in that case, the cops or whomever got a hold of them on the phone and was like, yo, you realize this is a hospital? And they're like, oh shit, my bad, and immediately pulled it. The
Wow.
second time I seen it, they ended up actually, because the medics had to reroute to a different hospital, 2 people ended up dying.
Yeah.
And it's been getting bigger and bigger. Hospitals are becoming more and more targets. And this is across the globe. This is in any Western nation. You see this.
Yeah.
And so in my eyes, I always thought you could have, I thought hackers at their core had a code of ethics for life. Now, killing critical infrastructure, cyber war, things like that, I get. Hands down, I understand. And if you take out a power grid and you don't realize it's connected to a hospital, okay, that's kind of collateral damage. And in the cyber framework, or in a cyber war, that's what makes it hard, because you don't know where your collateral damage is when you pull down a power grid. But to specifically target hospitals has blown my mind. It has been one of those things that I have seen APTs do, and it is one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen. Because why? Like, why? You get more from the other organizations, like your law firms and stuff like that out there. And hell, go after Experian and the credit agencies. They'll pay you fucking more than a hospital will. So why go after a hospital? I get it. It's low hanging fruit because of how outdated some of their technology is. But come on, have a damn soul. Like, that has bewildered me from the time I started seeing it happen. Absolutely bewildered
me. Yeah, it's a real tragedy, like on all ends, right? You're the doctor with compromised equipment, or you're the patient, that you're the poor sap that's, in the hospital when they happen to get attacked, that's a terrible thing. Or there's not a lot of ethics there, maybe as we would hope that there was some kind of line, but a lot of times it seems like that line is becoming less and less.
Yeah, I growing up and as I started getting more and more into cybersecurity, I thought there was a morality line that they just wouldn't cross. And again, unless paid by a nation state. But even at that point, you go after the critical infrastructure, you go after military targets, you go after something that would damage a nation, not a hospital. Like, and Jason and I just had it on the screen. He's right. The way these things go down anymore, actors are pure mercenaries. They're just going for money. And they're going to take the soft target, someone they can hit that doesn't have security, make their money, pay whatever person sold them the ransomware, get their cut. That person's going to get a cut, and they're going to go about their day.
Yeah.
So
it's a good way to look at it. Yeah, that's really accurate.
It is very disgusting to see. And again, you want to go after loans, banks, credit agencies. There's a whole slew of other targets that honestly probably 90% of the country, actually probably 99% of the country would look at you, and this is most countries, look at you and go, they deserved it. But hospitals, that shit needs to be off limits. Absolutely off limits. There is no excuse in the world for that. None at all. Yeah. I do want to say hi to two other people that just joined. Caleb K, thanks for joining to your first ever happy hour. Thanks for joining, man. You are now officially one of the Warriors in the family. So I hope you're following me and actually let me know you were here, because I don't know who Caleb K is. But hey, you're here. That's what matters. Akira is here, and she is definitely one of my Warriors. And guess what? She's my guest next week. Just so y'all are aware, Akira is here next week. And it's going to be a fun time. Which, by the way, Akira, I'm going to be hitting you up on LinkedIn, if not tonight, this weekend. I need some stuff, so I'll let you know. Who else we got? Oh, Cyber Dancer Danny is here. I love having her here. She's awesome. Who else we got? Misha, we already said. I think I said Misha. And then Jason. So, yeah, we're good. Who doesn't want to see the final scene in Fight Club happen? Right? I'm all about it. But, yeah, man, from a threat landscape perspective and what I've seen in my career, I think hospitals are the biggest thing. That's been one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen, and I will never be okay with that. Like I said, there are certain things I think 99% of any country will be like, yeah, fuck it, go for it, homie. Then there's hospitals, which I think everybody's going to look at and go, you're an asshole.
Yeah. It starts costing people's lives, right? At that point, it's a little bit different territory. I mean, not that big money doesn't, but you definitely end up killing a lot of people. Whether I can't think of the word, but whether intentionally or whether like primarily or secondarily, people end up dying because of it. So.
Yeah, and like I said, somebody hit a hospital, and it wasn't the people in the hospital that died because they had backup power, but they knew they couldn't take anybody into the ER. And you had 2 ambulances have to be rerouted, and those people died.
Right. Yeah.
So, Misha. All right, look, I'm going to just say this. For anybody who don't know, who isn't connected to Misha, please connect with her. And if you have any jobs, if you have any help that you can give her, please do. Misha is one of my family. I respect her. I love her. And by all the gods, I truly hope that things get back on track. So, Misha, you better reach out to me before shit goes sideways. All right. Caleb Kirkish. Oh, there we go. Definitely a better profile. All right, buddy. I don't know if you're following me on LinkedIn. I'll look. I think you might be. So anyways, any more questions from the audience, by the way? I mean, I usually have questions, but this has been a good talk so far, so I'm here for it. Same concept of traditional warfare where the enemy would pose as the Red Cross. Big no-no comes down to ethics. And let's be honest, there are certain people that have none. Absolutely none. And we're not going to get into that right now because I'm not going to discuss nation states. I'm just going to say there are certain that have absolutely no ethics whatsoever, and it's kill or be killed. Just saying. Yeah. They are not in the Geneva Convention. We'll go that far. But yeah, so please ask your questions away. Throw them in the chat. We'll get them answered. If you have questions for Grant, who is just getting into cybersecurity, please, oh shit, Miss Tarver coming through. I love it because this is one of the best questions ever. What made you switch to cybersecurity, Grant?
Yeah, there was a pipeline hack that like ruined gas for everyone in North Carolina for like a few weeks, and there was like lines for forever, and it like completely uprooted the infrastructure. This was about 2 or 3 years ago, and it really opened my eyes. Like, wow, like a company like this can choose to skimp on their cybersecurity budget, and it can, if you start thinking of these critical infrastructures, electricity, water, and so I think that really sparked my curiosity. And then I just really started to, I guess, get curious and paranoid about how computers run the world. And I was like, man, it's like we should probably take this pretty seriously because everyone kind of depends on computer security, even if they have no idea that they do to some extent. It's kind of like the joke, like, well, you don't need farmers, you just show up to the store and get milk, or it's, yeah. There's things behind the scenes that have to be done to make sure that things are secure and get there. So yeah, a lot of curiosity, I think, is the answer.
I love it because actually there's quite a few people that have gotten in for that reason. They've been a part of, we're in Rebecca Fisher, another one of my warriors who's been on the show, doing a lot of big things for First Nations and the Native Americans. That's why she got into it, was where she was working, got breached. And she was like, I don't want this to happen, especially on, Native American lands. So I'm going to get into it and I'm going to start helping them. And so she's been doing amazing things. So if you're not connected to Rebecca Fisher, please connect with her. Amazing person, family, warrior, doing great things. Please connect with her. But she's another one that, for the same thing, she saw something happen. Now it affected her personally. I believe it was at her work at the time. And she was like, this shit can't happen no more. And so she wanted to make a difference. Yeah. And she's doing that. So utterly amazing when you see something happen and that curiosity kicks in and you're like, hey, homie, hold up. There's got to be a way to fix this. So I love seeing that. Now, Misha, we'll get to your question in just a second. I do have something here from Brad, which is very important too, because me, as someone who loves animals, our sock saved penguins once. HVAC system was compromised and the attackers started raising the temp. Gained control before it caused harm. So it's not just humans. Very true, Brad, and thank you for doing that. A, I love penguins. They mate for life. And B, animals are precious. So I can't say nothing. Look, I'm a meat eater. Don't get me wrong. I am a carnivore. I will admit to that. But there are just certain things that are off limits, and killing animals just for shits and giggles is off limits to me. So, yeah, kudos.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to get to this one because Misha says she missed the first 10 minutes. Speaking of threats in public, what are your views on gaming as it becomes more multiplayer? We focus on life, but never that side of it. And as a kind of add-on to that, what she means is protecting yourself in gaming, I should say, since it usually requires an open NAT, which a lot of people don't understand. You have UPnP, and this NAT is wide open. So there's a lot of ephemeral ports that get opened, and things just communicate wherever. So you can't really lock things down. So in your eyes, Grant, and again, you're newer, so I'd love to hear your opinion on this and what your views on it are. With gaming becoming more multiplayer, and everything, let's be honest, really is, you have to have PlayStation Network or Xbox Live or Nintendo, whatever. With this, how do you see that affecting the home? And we already know, I mentioned the Restrict Act briefly, but from an attack perspective, how do you think this is going to affect gamers in terms of attackers and the threat landscape in that way?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like from what I've looked at, a lot of hacks have started with people trying to hack into a game, right? They're trying to do a cheat code. They're trying to, dominate everybody. And so I think, unfortunately, it would probably, I hate to be so pessimistic, but I think a lot of times it takes a massive hack for people to wake up and put on, their thinking cap. So I think something probably pretty drastic would have to happen, but I'm sure it's an avenue that people are probably exploiting, whether people know it or not, as far as using unsecure openings like that to really get in and take advantage of people. I mean, yeah. that's been going on for a long time. And I'm sure as it continues, like you're saying with this multiplayer, I mean, yeah, like big games, like you think about like, I don't know, like the Fortnite or like the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and everyone's jumping in this giant game, has someone secured that environment? I mean, pessimistically, probably not. I mean, or if someone wants to get into it, could they? I mean, I'd like to think so, but
And that's kind of how I'm looking at things, right? Is they secured maybe their back end.
yeah,
Maybe. And I would think so. I mean, I think they've been pretty solid. Now the effect of getting your IP, and I'll be honest, I can't even set up an FTP server on mine because my ISP is like, hey, homie, we're blocking inbound FTP on all personal IPs. But I was trying to share some shit with people. Like, come on. And it was actually a secure FTP, but still, they were blocking the port. I couldn't set it up. I'm like, you're a bunch of assholes. But yeah, so I think I think a lot of that's going to come down more to your ISP. Because externally, if they get your IP, which they do get and can get through online gaming, if they're good and if they find a way to do it, it's not easy by any means. You have to basically access or find a way to hack any massive multiplayer online role-playing game or massive MMO at all. You have to find a way to extract that information. So do I think APTs and stuff may do that and find a way into the system and not necessarily compromise the corporation itself, but turn users into botnets? Yes. I think that may be a future way it goes, where users get turned into botnets where they don't know they got anything. They don't know what happened. They just were there. Somebody had something. Maybe somebody was like, hey, go to this website, whatever the case may be. There's a million different ways, but somehow they got in, something sitting on their system. I think that's what you look at is the botnet aspect of it. Because let's be honest, in reality, what are you going to get from somebody's personal computer? Some nude pictures and maybe some banking information from broke ass people here in the States. Like, and if you get a kid at that, really, what are you going to get from his computer or her computer or whatever? Like, nothing. So the reality of it is it just turns into botnets, which we have seen bring down dying DNS and I believe AWS in certain regions. These huge botnets, the DDoS, the distributed, denial of service, did it all. So they can have my student loans. Look, on that note, Misha, I did see the best thing ever, the best meme ever today, and it is one of my favorites. A hacker hacked into my account and felt so bad for me they set up a GoFundMe. I was like, yes, I wish somebody would do that for me. But let's see. This is true too. And this is a big issue in the gaming industry, especially, and let's be honest, these kids have no filter, no respect for anybody. And it is a lot of times kids. The adults tend to bite their tongue, but I'm sure not often. But kids are very vile online. I always ponder it, seeing how often people can get swatted and such. So always ponder as I'm gaming what could happen, especially on Xbox. Here's the thing. On Xbox, it's tied to Microsoft. Microsoft is tied to Windows. Windows now has your Xbox Live login. If your Windows account gets hit with anything, your Xbox account gets hit with anything because they're all tied together. See what I'm getting at here? Diversify, homie. Diversify. Don't use all the same shit. I used to be a big advocate for, hey, Microsoft should know Microsoft, so get free Defender, do all this stuff. But now I'm like, the longer I'm in, the more I'm like, actually, it kind of makes sense to go, you know what, I'm going to use Microsoft for this. I'm going to use Sony for this. I'm going to use this for that. Apple for this. you know what, we're just going to spread it around, all different passwords, all different accounts, and that way you can't get everything. Just how I am. Oh, shit. Hey, AR, thanks for bringing this up. I completely forgot about it. The Myria virus was an entire botnet of IoT devices. AR, you might know this. Was that what brought down Dyn DNS? I think that's the one that brought down Dyn. I believe. I can't be sure, but I believe that's what brought down Dyn DNS. It may have been AWS, but Myria botnet literally brought down a huge portion of DNS services or AWS services. It was utterly ridiculous. Listen, you can't tell me to stop using password 123 as my password on everything. You know what? You're right. I can't tell you to. Well, I can tell you to stop. You don't have to listen. Let's be real. I can tell you to stop, but you don't got to listen to me. Actually, you're one of my warriors. Fuck you. You do have to listen to me, Misha. All right. I'm telling you to be smarter. All right. Just saying. Miss Tarver, at least put an exclamation point after it. Be safe. Yes. See, this is why I love my warriors. For others that don't know, everybody in chat is one of my warriors. They're part of my family. They are real. So, if you're here, if you've been on the show, if you're just tuning in, maybe this is your first time, you are now part of the family. So please make sure you're connected with me and let me know, because I tend to forget to tag people on LinkedIn, Twitter, and a bunch of other stuff. But don't worry. I got you covered. Let's see. Just use 321. Oh, Jess, that's a good one. Use 321 password. I like that. Let's flip it. What else we got? Misha, I work in a hospital. We're all cybersecurity nightmares there. All hospitals are nightmares. Let's be honest. They got some of the most outdated shit. This is why I said they're low-hanging fruit. And it aggravates me that ransomware and APTs go after them. Just saying. Cybermaster, don't know who you are, but this is the first time I'm seeing you in chat, or at least recall seeing you in chat. So thanks for being here and laughing along with everybody else, because this show is all about having a good time. That's what we do here. Any more questions from the audience before I start ranting and raving and making Grant laugh his ass off, because I'm all about making people laugh. That's what we do. And it is WrestleMania weekend once again. So Skull, to all those that are drinking, here is for you. And this is my double IPA that, look, it just tastes delicious. Let's be honest. And it is free as they. So show some love. I love you all. Oh, Jess, what a good one. Can you make me laugh too? Caleb, look, if you ain't laughing yet, you're missing out. What has been your favorite part of being in cyber so far, Grant?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jess. I think I would have to say the community, because like guys like me or people like everyone that's watching this, you can get really excited and fired up about this. And the reality is that no one knows what you're talking about half the time, and no one has any idea of what you do. And yeah, so it's like, so it's good to see. Yeah, it's good to see other people that realize, like, oh, this is the backbone of our world. Oh, it's important that we secure it. Oh, there's some value in this. So yeah, I think, yeah, community, and yeah, the challenge it is to try and secure all this stuff. Yeah,
I can get behind that because, whoa, let's see. It truly is a big issue in hospitals. Sort of sad. It actually is, Misha. I'm 10% behind you. I completely agree. Community is huge, and it is something I've been trying to build for the past. Oh shit, we're going on 3 years now. Damn. Maybe longer, but we'll say 3 years because I started this show in like 2020-ish. But yeah, community is huge, and everybody needs to be involved because we all belong here. For all of those new to my channel and tuning in for the first time, let me reiterate. If you do not believe that everybody has a space in cybersecurity, you can get bent. Leave. I don't want nothing to do with you. All right. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. We all belong. We all have a different way of seeing things. We all have a different way of viewing attack vectors and vuln management and GRC and just all of these different things. And so to me, that community is huge. It is why people like Miss Harver and Bill and Misha and Jess and all these other people and Andrea, who I talk to at least several times a week because she has been so vital in keeping me motivated recently, on top of my family and some of the other people I talk to. So vital that I think that this community is just amazing, but you have to find the right part of it, because some people still want to bring you down. They're still negative. There's still so much hate and negativity in this world, which is what I'm trying to avoid. I am trying to stamp it out. I am trying to uplift people no matter who you are, because I believe everybody has a voice. Two questions for you right now, Grant. All right. First one from Jason. Grant, where do you see yourself taking your career path?
Oh gosh, that's a hard question, Jason. I'm still pretty green to really say. I like overseeing big projects, and helping, like what I'm doing now. I'd like to see myself really playing fundamental role in orchestrating projects to secure hospitals. I like the idea of breaking into things and doing a little bit of pen testing, and I like the idea of doing a little bit of engineering as well to try and think through the technical side. So yeah, my sails are open, and we'll see where the wind blows to answer that question.
That's awesome, though, because you have an open mind. You're willing to kind of explore and see where it takes you.
Yeah.
I will say this: find an area that you become passionate about and you're willing to keep growing in, which it seems like you are, within hospitals and securing hospitals. Now, wherein that takes you, it could be vuln management, it could be, security engineering, it could be, hey, I want to be part of a red team, but at least sticking with hospitals. So right now you found an industry that you want to be a part of. Now it's, what area of cybersecurity is really going to allow me to develop and grow and be happy securing hospitals. And so at least you see that, and sticking with where you're at and coming up from there. Honestly, dude, you're doing amazing things. And so I'm so glad you're on this show and being able to put that out there. And so for any hospital that wants to hire this man for more money than he's making, doing amazing things, please do so. We do have another good question here from Misha, because Misha's amazing. When you decided to start cybersecurity, did you want to do something specific? If so, is that still your focus, or has it changed as you've learned more? So you are newer, but from the time you decided to get in till now, has it changed?
Yeah, I think, originally I just was getting into IT, and after being in IT, wanting to get into cybersecurity, I think specifically I wanted to learn penetration testing. I think that's a big draw for a lot of people. And I think over time, that's kind of broadened because, I'm still open to that, but I'm also open to other things because, there's so many elements and there's so many things. And even like, I still plan to pick up the craft and the skill and to be able to have it as something in my back pocket. But so that's not gone anywhere. But as far as, if that's going to be my bread and butter and how I put food on the table, for all my days, I don't know, so I think, the desire and that skill set is something that hasn't changed at all, but wanting to, it being only that has definitely changed to where I'm open to a lot more stuff now.
Yeah, I think you're finding blue team, I think, has helped kind of expand your mindset, right?
Yeah.
Finding this vuln management and program management side of security. And I don't blame you for that because honestly, you started where I did. I started breaking into wireless networks and wanting to be a pen tester and a hacker. And I was like, oh, I want to break into all the things. And then I started getting into it. And one of my first cybersecurity jobs, even in the Army, was defense, was security on the untenable, like the blue team side of things. And then I got out and I was management and I did security engineering. And then I finally got my first pen testing role in 2017, 18, like 2020 was when I had my first pen testing role outside of what I had already learned and done in the Army.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did not like it. Mainly because I hate writing reports. Let's be honest. I absolutely despise writing reports. It is one thing to do like a vuln management program or like documentation for some things, which I still hate documentation. Don't get me wrong. But it's one thing to do that. It's a whole nother thing where your whole job is, hey, you're going to do this test for a week or two, and then you have a week to write a report. And that's every fucking month. And you're just like, oh, homie, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So as a pen tester, yeah, get bent. That ain't something I want to do no more. I love breaking into things, and I will still, if somebody paid me enough money, I might sit there and legally take a contract and break into a company as long as it's legal. But to do it as a full-time job, no, never again. It'll never happen. Ever.
That's right. Even pen testers, right, are 50% report writers, right?
If not more. It's like anywhere from like 50 to 80. We do have a LinkedIn user here. And I say LinkedIn user because that's how it shows up. Maybe they're not following CyberWarriorStudios. I don't know. But greetings, CyberWarrior and Grant, new to the field, happy to absorb all the wisdom. Thanks so much for sharing. Glad you said wisdom because that is definitely a key word that I use on Wednesdays. And thankfully, actually, no, we got some regulars here, so we're not going to say it just yet. I'll wait till the end. But glad you said wisdom. Thank you for being here. YouTube is the best place to get seen, just so you're aware. I have no clue who you are right now. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, crap, man. I got Q. I had a Q. Here we go. Caleb, what did you used to be in before you moved in the health industry? And Caleb, I'm going to let you run with this. You're going solo, homie.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was a field tech. And then before that, I was in church ministry for about 7 years. So, so I did that about 7 years out of high school. And then, around 2020, I built a computer and then I started fixing computers and then I got into IT and, did those roles. And my second IT role was helping to oversee medical device manufacturing. And then a lot of that knowledge translated over into the role I'm in now, which is helping secure hospitals. So, great question, Caleb.
Sorry, I had to hit the right button. My butt was kind of lost there. But yeah, man, that's awesome. And so it is great to figure that out. Let's see. What do we have here? Motivated sounds like a certain podcast. Shh. I said wisdom, but yes, motivated is Damn it, I said podcast now because of you, Robert. These fools know I do. I bring up, so I do. Hold up, wrong one. I do have this certain thing right here. It may or may not begin with a P. I'm just saying it is a show called Walk With Me. We'll say show called Walk With Me because it's on YouTube now also, so I could say show. Suckers. But yeah, so the rule is if I say the P word, I have to drink. All right, that's been the ongoing rule for ever since I came out with the show.
Fair enough.
And because in January I made it a YouTube show, now I could say show. So Let's see. Cybermaster, I'm trying to figure it out. Did some GRC. Now I am an engineer, and I really want to find that part of cyber that I love and the best at. All right. Grant, you just breaking in and doing what you do. Please talk to Cybermaster for a second. And what's your take on this statement?
Yeah. So yeah, governance, risk compliance. That's a good introduction. You get to see different things. I think, finding your niche is really about like knowing the different areas and the different roles that are out there. And so I think, it's good that it's like, if you see something, it's like, well, that looks cool, or I'd like to do that, or I'd be good at that. I mean, go try it. Try to pick up some side hustle, or man, switch to that job, try to work it and see if you like it. And yeah, I think like even my role, like I get to see like a lot of different roles. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So this guy does this and this person does that. So I think while you're in the industry, like the big thing that we're talking about earlier, Derek, network, talk to people, make friends with people, see what they're doing, and then from there you figure out what the options are, and what your skill set and your strengths and weaknesses, evaluate those, and, open the sales.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that has been good and bad for me is being a generalist. Now, it is not wise, and I am going to say that, it is not wise to be a generalist when you're first starting out. Unfortunately, the way my brain works, I could never specialize. I would find something, I'd dig in, find something else I like, dig into that, find something else I like, dig into that. And it just kind of went in circles. Actually, it's more like a line. I don't know. It just never ended. It just kept going and going and going. I could show you a whole slew of books. The first computer book I ever finished, was Linux Basics for Hackers. And it was only because last year I decided to do a playlist on it to actually put out a stream of technical content. So I will say my brain works differently than a lot of other people's, and well, not a lot in this industry, but it does work different. And I can't focus on just one thing. If I see something else I like, I'm going to keep bouncing. So I'm more of a generalist. I understand probably an inch deep and mile wide of cybersecurity, hence having my CSP. But I can learn any tool out there. So, hey, Cybermaster, you're going to B-Sides Tampa tomorrow. Let them know you know the Cyber Warrior. They all know me. Or at least a lot of people know me there. So I spoke at B-Side St. Petersburg last year. So awesome. Everyone's brain works different. Very true, AR. You're a damn data scientist. I swear, every time I bring something up, you send me some percentages. And yes, Miss Tarver, now you know the rule is if I say the P word, I have to drink. You are now well aware. It is 8:08, so Eastern time. We are now well over the top of the hour. And as much as I love doing this show and love to keep talking to you, let's give some final words, man, because I got a family I got to get to, and they might get mad if I'm here too long. So
Absolutely.
Give some final words to everybody in the audience.
Hey, I want to thank Derek, man. It's been a pleasure to get on here and chat with you. And the people tuned in tonight, man, please add me on LinkedIn. It was a real pleasure, man. You guys making me laugh up here, and it's a good little community. So it's a real pleasure. And I think everyone should work together. I think, the idea that everyone needs to kind of go it alone. I mean, you're not even going to be the best you can be that way. So, I think this kind of community is important and a lot of value. And thankful that, things like the Cyber Warrior and, all that Derek's trying to do. I think there's a lot of value in it. So it's cool to kind of get to hang out with everyone. Absolutely.
Definitely. Thanks again for coming on, Grant. It has been hard to find newcomers in the industry coming on. We have Miss Tarver. I had Andrea. We got Akira coming on next week. You yourself. There's a few others. But please inspire and motivate and let other newcomers, they need to come on the show. If nothing else, it allows their voice to get heard. and it allows them to kind of get that experience of being in front of people without being in front of people.
Yeah.
So if you can encourage that, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Otherwise, look, for everybody in the audience, everybody that's listening, everybody that is watching the recording, everybody that, when I put this on podcast, because I'm quite a bit behind. Look, I love you all. It is Freya's Day. Show some love to the community. Show some love to your family and friends. And if you want some awesome merchandise, please check out CyberWarriorStudios.com, as you can see down below. Otherwise, it's WrestleMania weekend. I'm going to go enjoy some time with my family. Y'all have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you all next week for Security Happy Hour.